Do you remember playing the Total War games growing up and just falling in love with controlling all of the army formations and engaging in epic sieges, but just wishing you could zoom in and actually take control of one of the soldiers and fight the battle yourself as well? Well, a gameplay trailer recently dropped for a new game that's going to be launching into early access 2026 called Chronicles Medieval. And this game promises to be everything medieval gamers could want and more, in my opinion. What's more, and this is going to be the thing that really sells a lot of people here, this is all planned with co-op. Now, I've been poring over all the developer diaries, the Q&As and the articles that are out there about this game, and what I want to do in this video is give you guys a concise overview of what's actually coming, so that with a healthy dose of realistic expectations, you can get just as excited as I am for this one. Let's get into it. Now, with the tidal wave of game announcements that have been happening over the past few weeks, I almost missed this one, but after learning more about it, I'm convinced this is every medieval gamer's dream game. Now, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this one, so if you want to stay up to date on its progress, make sure you subscribe to the channel to get all future content I'll be creating on this. Firstly, what is this game? Raw Power Games is a studio based in Copenhagen, a place very close to my heart. They include developers that have worked on games like The Witcher, and they want to bring a very specific vision to life.
It's a game about killing someone.
No, really, that is the vision from their dev diary. But essentially what they talk about in this diary is that they want to really make a game where combat feels utterly immersive and real, but still fun to play. And the other thing they talk about is an open world that rewards curiosity not just through exploration, but also through the actions that players take and the inevitable consequences that follow. And here's where we start. The era and setting for this game is going to be based in the 100 Years' War. Basically, between the 13 and 1400s or thereabouts, England and France were constantly at war with each other.
We shall take your castle by force!
You don't frighten us, English pig dogs! I fart in your general direction!
This is the era of medieval knights, the English longbowmen, the men-at-arms, and castle sieges. The way you're going to experience this as a player is much like Mount & Blade Bannerlord, and in fact this game is very similar in many aspects. You're going to create your character, and you're going to start as a zero, a nobody, a peasant, and you're going to be dropped into the overhead map. And the overhead map so far seems to consist of southern England and northern France. The map is also going to start with a fog of war. You're going to know nothing, and with more exploration and scouting, you're going to be able to discover more about the world and get information that you can act upon. There are going to be rumors that you can find in inns and taverns and things and other events that take place in the world that can distract you as a player, and it's really up to you to decide which path you want to go down. Do you want to go follow that rumor and see how that pans out? Or do you just want to set your sights on a particular castle you like the look of and go and take that over? The choice is up to you. Now, when it comes to castles, there are going to be sieges, so you're going to be able to attack enemy castles and also defend your own. You're going to see religion and politics and economics all playing out, and they're designing the game so that your actions as a player have real ripple effects and impact on the world around you. And yes, you are going to be able to do things like rule your own kingdom if you rise enough in power. The idea is that you're going to get to walk around, recruit companions, recruit armies over time, build your prestige and power and wealth. There's going to be a whole system of influence where you're going to be able to influence other lords and also negotiate things like war or peace. But essentially you're going to go from a nobody peasant to a knight, to maybe a lord or even a duke or perhaps even king.
I'm your king!
Well, I didn't vote for you!
And the idea is that by the end of this time frame, the game will kind of evaluate how successful you've been and how well you've done. With that said, we don't know if you're going to be able to continue your character after this. It seems like from different sources online that you're going to be able to continue via inheritance, so you're going to be able to have children and continue your legacy through your heirs. So again, a lot like Bannerlord, but it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, the mechanics that we know a lot more about in this game that are really being focused on are the combat and battle mechanics. As you and your forces travel around the map, you're going to be able to siege castles and get into fights with other enemy forces. Now the way battles work is that from the player's perspective there are going to be 3 layers. Now the general layer is going to be kind of more like Total War, with a top-down view where you get to lay out your formations and plan your strategy before the battle starts. Now as the battle starts, we're going to move into the captain layer, and this is where the game becomes third person and the camera zooms into your character and you take direct control of them. And you are still commanding your forces, but from the ground. Now the distance to your units is going to have an impact here, as it would in real battles. Now as the battle rages and things get up close and personal, you're going to be able to draw your weapon and actually fight yourself. Now we don't know exactly how the controls and combat mechanics work yet, but the devs have said they want it to feel fluid and responsive and downright satisfying. So throughout the battle, units will act based on your orders, but also based on a morale system, and depending on how much their morale is wavering, they're going to act in different ways, perhaps even running away and fleeing completely if their morale is decimated. Now if you fall on the field as a commander, you're going to be able to watch the rest of the battle play out, but that is going to heavily affect the morale of the troops directly around you. Now the commands you give and the actions you take as a player on the battlefield are going to make or break the morale of both your forces or the enemies, so this is going to be really important to think about when trying to win the battle. Once the battle actually begins, you're going to be able to issue commands to your army and to your units. And to do this, you're going to activate command mode, which is basically holding down a button on your keyboard, which is going to slow down time so that you have time to issue commands as you wish. You're going to have global commands that are communicated via blowing war horns. And these are going to be things like advance, hold, fall back, retreat, charge. You're also going to have local commands that you can shout at the units closest to you to be much more specific with regards to what formation you want them to be in and which enemy to target and things like this. We are going to be able to strategically command all sorts of formations, including basic ones like line and loose formation. We're also going to get advanced formations like shield and spear walls, but every formation is going to have its advantages and disadvantages. When it comes to unit types, we're going to see things like infantry, men-at-arms, ranged units, English longbowmen, night cavalry, and all these sorts of things. And of course, every unit's going to be more effective at certain things and less effective at others. After winning a battle, both you and your units are going to gain experience, and there are going to be progression trees where you're going to be able to customize your characters and your troops' path as you level up. Now, the power of your rig is going to determine how many units you can have in one battle at any given time. But the devs have said that their goal is for battles to be able to have up to 2,000 units, which is huge, to be honest, so these battles are going to feel incredible. There are also going to be different factions with their various preferred ways of fighting as well. So with the English, you're going to get the famous longbowmen that prefer the flanks for a clear line of sight and wearing the enemy down with arrows. The French are going to gravitate towards heavy cavalry for decimating morale with heavy charges. And we also have the faction of the Holy Roman Empire, who are going to have a heavy vanguard of infantry. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, hey, you know what, Bannerlord does a lot of this already as well. Why is this any different? Now, Bannerlord is a great game, but it's very hack and slash. Do you remember in Total War when forces would clash? And you'd really get like a lot of mini 1 versus 1 battles going on between the soldiers on the battlefield, where it really feels like they're pulling off different moves and things to try and take the other one out. Maybe they'll headbutt them, or maybe they'll do a cool move and then execute them. This is what this game seems to be showing in its gameplay footage, so this is very exciting because it's going to make the battles feel so much more real and visceral and immersive. Like, imagine being on a battlefield and then looking to your left and your NPC friend is just like cracking someone over the head with the butt of their sword and then like stabbing them on the floor. This is very cool. Roll Power Games have also brought on board Bjorn Ruther, who's a HEMA expert, to basically guide attention to detail when it comes to realistic combat. So they're really trying to strike that balance between real, visceral, brutal combat that feels fun to play. And this is music to my ears. Now, when it comes to weapons and armor and things like this, there's going to be a lot of customization. Obviously, everything's going to be themed within the setting, which is the 100 Years' War. But it seems like the devs plan to bring a huge array of weapons to the table here that you can choose from to be able to determine your playstyle. So you can expect swords, shields, maces, bows, all the good stuff. And they've also said that polearms are going to play a huge role, as they did in history. So in the beginning, you're going to have to work very hard when you pick up a one-handed sword for the first time, but if you keep using it, you're going to be able to unlock things like staggering enemies much easier with the weapon, and obviously your timing with the weapon itself is going to improve over time. What's more is that all of this is planned with co-op. For early access, the devs actually plan to bring cooperative play to the battles, which for me blows my mind because this is something that we've all wanted with Total War, it's something we've desperately wanted with Bannerlord. Now it's important to stress here that for early access they've said that co-op will include custom battles that you can play alongside your friends, but the devs have also said that their vision for full release is to bring cooperative play to the main campaign, which basically means you and your friends are going to be able to traverse the open world map together and get into the same battles together, which is... Guys, this is what we have always wanted. This is merging the best of Total War with Bannerlord, with co-op, with awesome graphics. What more can I say? Another huge win here is that the devs have said that they support modding. And we know from Bannerlord and Total War that modders keep the game alive for years after its release. Like, guys, just imagine a total conversion Middle-earth in this game. So that's everything we know about the game so far, and with all of this said, and with the co-op mode that's coming and full mod support, I am just crazy excited for this game. For me, this is bringing the best of Total War and Bannerlord to the table, adding in co-op, adding in full mod support, and bringing us maybe every medieval gamer's dream game. So if you've enjoyed this video or learned something new, or if you're just as excited as I am, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it will really help the channel out going forward, and I'm going to be bringing much more content on this game as we learn more and as it progresses. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.